It's been a couple days since the news was announced that Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler was canceled and off of UFC 303. And in the last couple days, Michael Chandler has suffered a psychotic break. He has posted a series of humiliating, embarrassing, degrading videos on social media. We're going to take a look at one in particular in this video where he's wandering through the woods with no shirt, wondering which direction to go in, quoting scripture, quoting motivational speakers. I feel like he's about to sell me some pyramid scheme. And this man has shown that he is mentally broken. The sunk cost fallacy has Michael Chandler by a death grip. And to top it all off, he alludes to the fact that he's still going to wait for Conor McGregor. I can't believe I'm even saying this. But to really add the cherry on the top to this video, Dana White did his first interview with Jim Rome since the Conor McGregor-Michael Chandler cancellation, and he laughed at Michael Chandler wanting to wait for Conor McGregor. And not only did he say that, he also said, I don't know if Conor McGregor ever fights in the UFC again. We're going to take a look at that Dana White interview in this video as well. But listen, guys, there's been a lot of people discussing, Joey, you just don't like Michael Chandler. You just don't like Conor McGregor. And it's made zero sense from the very beginning. I've been saying this fight wasn't going to happen since February of 2023. And people say, you just don't like Chandler. How does that make any sense? I want to know, how does that make any sense? The point of me telling you my opinion on whether or not this fight was going to happen was to inform you. I was telling people, listen, don't get excited. I told you it wasn't going to happen in summer 2023. It didn't happen. I told you it wasn't going to happen in fall 2023. I told you it wasn't going to happen in December 2023. I told you it wasn't going to happen at UFC 300. And I told you I was seriously pessimistic about it happening at UFC 303. And I told you flat out it wasn't going to happen as well. Even after it was announced, I said, look, it's not going to happen. Especially after the press conference was canceled, I told you it wasn't going to happen. Not because I didn't like anybody. How would that make any sense? And how would I continue to be right? I told you because I wanted to tamper your expectations. A lot of people were getting excited for this fight. And ultimately, I've been right every single time. So I'm accepting apologies down in the comments, by the way. And I did a video when this news initially came out, and I was kind of soft on Michael Chandler. I didn't want to kick him too much while he was down. I had my subtle jabs. I didn't want to kick him too much while he was down. But he said something on one of his videos that we're going to take a look at in a second. He said, don't feel sorry for me. So I'm not going to feel sorry for Michael Chandler in this video because he is a fucking idiot. His manager is a fucking idiot. Anyone giving him advice is an idiot in regards to his career with this Conor McGregor situation, because not only has he now wasted 2 years of his career waiting on a mythical fight, he's in his late 30s, guys, and it's all for a red panty night that doesn't exist. He's not getting pay-per-view points to fight Conor McGregor. I broke this down so many times for you guys because nobody else says this. He is hoping to parlay a Conor McGregor win with superstardom. He is hoping the exposure of the Conor McGregor fight makes him a superstar in the UFC, and it's just simply not. Even if he goes out there and brutally KOs Conor McGregor in the first 10 seconds, if you were to get this mythical fight, people are going to say, oh, Conor McGregor's partying nonstop. Conor McGregor's coming back from a catastrophic injury. Conor McGregor's had 3 years off. Conor McGregor's not taking it seriously. No one was going to give Michael Chandler credit for this win anyway. And in the meantime, Chandler could have fought 4 or 5 times, at least 4 times. He could have collected those paychecks. He could have even gotten a title shot. Look at Dustin Poirier. 1 fight win streak, got a title shot against Islam Makhachev. Chandler fumbled bad, and he is an utter humiliation of not only himself, but also his family, who he left in early January to train for this mythical fight that now may get pushed back to late this year. Now, let's take a look at an update from Ariel Helwani to start it all off. Someone actually responded to Ariel, or Ariel actually responded to someone who asked, can Conor actually return in a few months or not, Lil Bro? He said he can, Lil B. Issue is there may not be an available date. They don't want the Sphere, which wish they did. Perth makes no sense, neither does Utah. So they'll either have to create a new pay-per-view date or really push it, in which both camps desperately don't want. So what Ariel's saying, and what Ariel has continued to say, is that the Conor McGregor camp wants to push the fight back a couple months. Well, there's not a date available for that. So now you're looking at a potential McGregor versus Chandler December, November date. You're literally looking past 2 years of inactivity for Michael Chandler to fight in December against Conor McGregor. And we don't even know that this is going to happen. We don't even know that this is going to happen. The Dana White interview was very telling, which we're going to take a look at later in this video. So Ariel's reporting that maybe it gets rescheduled. I have my doubts. I'll believe it when I see them both in the cage. I believe I will die on this hill. I believe they will never fight each other. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But at this point, how could you believe? I think if you believe that Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler are actually going to fight each other, I think there might be something wrong with you. I mean, we know Michael Chandler is mentally broken. We know Michael Chandler needs a psych evaluation. We know he needs to be committed. We know he needs therapy. But if you believe this fight's still going to happen after time and time again you've been sold wolf tickets, you need to be evaluated as well. Now, one thing I want to take a look at before we get into some of the newer clips and some of the newer tweets from Michael Chandler is something Michael Chandler said on January 4th, 2024. January 4th, 2024. Listen to what he said in this interview with Brett Okamoto.
And yeah, June 29th is what I'm preparing for. I'm leaving my family here in the next couple weeks to head down to Florida.
He's leaving his family in the next couple weeks. How'd that pan out, Chandler? How'd that pan out?
To get into fight camp, the fight camp that has been looming now for a year.
It's going to keep looming. And by the way, watch Brett Okamoto's response to this. I find it hilarious. And I know I've featured this clip before, but there's a lot of new subscribers who may have not seen this clip. Listen to Brett Okamoto's response here. Even he's baffled. Like, what the fuck, Chandler?
And yeah, June 29th, we take this dude's head off.
It's only January 4th, man. You're going to leave the family and head to Florida? Are you training for this thing for 6 months?
No, I mean, anyway, in 60 days, we will be almost within 3 months of it. So
in 60 days, it'll be 3 months. And then from that 3 months, it'll be 2 years. And then 2 years from then, it'll be a year before BC and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. Dude is leaving his family in early January for a mythical fight at a mythical weight class on a mythical date at a mythical venue. That's never going to happen. I've been adamant about this. By the way, real quick, Brett Okamoto works for ESPN, and this dude can't afford a decent camera. I'm not even sure this is Brett Okamoto. I'm not even sure. This is like 480p right here. So he needs to get a new camera. Now let's take a look at Michael Chandler's recent tweets because he really embarrassed himself on Twitter. And this cements my thought process that I've been breaking down for you guys for the last year, 2 years really, that Michael Chandler has been left in the dark about this entire situation. Michael Chandler is literally sitting on the sidelines. You'll do what you're told. Basically, he says, look, I'm waiting for Conor. Just let me know when he's ready and I'll get in there. If they called him and said, hey, you want to fight Conor tomorrow? He'd be there. He had no idea what was going on behind the scenes. I had a better idea of what was going on behind the scenes than Michael Chandler. That's why Michael Chandler watches my videos. Because he was like, all right, what's going on? What's going on with the situation? Let me see if this guy's finally going to say I'm going to get the fight because he's been right so long. Watch some of these tweets. It's just embarrassing. So this is when all this speculation was going on. Let the flies talk. They are only talking to justify their own self-perceived limits. Move forward with complete disregard to previous failures, future opposition, and current mediocre minds that will try to deter you. You should have been deterred, you dumb motherfucker. You should have been deterred. I'm embarrassed for Chandler. I really am. He left his family in early January. His family should be pissed at him. He could have been collecting paydays this entire time. He might as well be retired at this point. So let's move up and look at some more, okay? He's advertising his hiatus, tequila, whatever. Here's another cryptic post. I'm not even going to read it. I'm not even going to bother. And then this one is really hilarious. This is the day the fight got canceled. He says, amount of times these fighters have pulled out of fights in their entire career. The Notorious MMA, 0. Michael Chandler MMA, 0. Readers added context they thought people might want to know. He got community noted. Conor McGregor has pulled out of his scheduled bout against Michael Chandler. He had no idea that McGregor was going to pull out. And you'll see it in the video that I show you in a minute where he's talking in the forest. So this guy was blindsided by this. He thought, oh, we're full steam ahead. I'm getting the fight on June 29th. June 29th. I am 100% sure the fight's going to happen at June 29th. I put that audio clip in the video from last week, which that video I will link down in the description. I highly encourage you to go check it out. It's a great video. And then we'll look at a couple more statements, more cryptic stuff. I'm not going to read it exactly. You can pause it and read it. Look at this video that he posted. He posted this on his Instagram as well. Look at this. Is a grown 40-year-old man posting this. Listen, look, watch this. I don't know if it has any audio, really. Not really. That is a grown man. That's a 40-year-old man. Well, back on hiatus. That's the name of his tequila. Listen, what's so embarrassing about this, he set up this camera, he walked out of the room and then walked back in the room to get it like he was candidly walking in the room. Think about this. This is how mentally broken he is. This is a 40-year-old man who set up his camera to do this. I mean, he's mentally broken. This isn't even the worst of it. Wait till we get to the video of him in the woods. Then here's his official statement. Quote, I'm here just as in 2009 when I started. The most reliable man in MMA. See you when I see you. The most reliable man in MMA? Reliable to what? Suck off Conor? Reliable to sit on your ass on the sidelines and not fight? And all you do is quote motivational speakers and gospel? That's about as reliable as you are. That's all you do. That's all you do. So there's his official statement. I think that's the gist of it. Dues have been paid. Nothing changes. Recalibrate and continue in our course of action. AK, I'm going to wait for Conor McGregor. And then push forward with complete disregard. Walk on. See you at the top. And I'm not going through any more of this. Michael Chandler is an embarrassment on Twitter. Now let's get to the video. Now initially I was going to show you this whole video, and because I didn't watch the entire thing. Then I realized it was 5 minutes long. So I'm going to show you maybe 2 minutes of clips from this video, maybe 3 minutes of clips from this video. This man has lost his mind. He has completely and utterly lost his mind. Now, he starts off talking about when the news got broke to him, and I'm telling you guys, I've been telling you for 2 years, Chandler is in the dark. Nobody is filling him in on what's going on behind the scenes on a regular basis. He is scouring Conor McGregor's Twitter and Instagram, waiting to find out updates about his fights. That's what he's doing. Listen to this shit.
Well, it's Monday morning. On the trail right now. Getting my mind right. Thinking about what has transpired over the last couple of days. Obviously, you guys saw it all. Got the rug pulled out from underneath me at the last possible moment. Had just got done with my last sparring session Thursday morning. Had been hearing rumblings since Monday, obviously, but really got the call about an hour after my last sparring session was completed.
So there you go. He found out right on Thursday. He didn't even know before that. We all knew before that. And you know what this reminds me of? You ever hurt yourself, like fall off a bike or, kick a piece of furniture and you just got to go on a walk, you're in so much pain? This is what Chandler's doing right here.
An hour after a celebration.
So he celebrated at the end of training camp, and then he found out the fight was canceled because he was in the complete dark and hoping and praying that this fight was still going to happen. Now, this next clip, he starts to get into some weird gospel, story from the Bible or something along those lines, or some story. I don't know. Listen to it for yourself.
30 minutes later, getting a phone call that all of that was for naught. Or was it? Reminds me of the story about the man at the bottom of the hill where God comes to him in a vision and says, I need you to push this rock. And the man pushes it and pushes it and pushes it. His shoulders are bleeding, his hands are bleeding. He is dead dog, tired, exhausted. Finally quits and looks up and said, God, why would you tell me to push this rock up the hill if you knew I wasn't going to be able to do it?
AK, this guy wasted his time just like you did. You wasted your career at the tail end of your career. What happened to Chandler? I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. Imagine saying that, and that's your quote, that's your headline, and then you just sit out for 2 years waiting for a mythical fight.
And he said, son, you misunderstood what I said. I didn't tell you to push the rock up the hill. Just because the rock was at the base of a hill doesn't mean I was telling you to push the rock up the hill.
At this point, I'm thinking Michael Chandler is smoking rock. I mean, what is this? What are we even listening to right now? I couldn't even stomach all this. This is why I had to clip it out. We're going to move on to another clip here in a second.
I was just telling you to push the rock.
All right, push the rock, Chandler. Push the rock. Keep walking aimlessly in the woods because you're so brokenhearted. Now, this next clip, he actually starts to make a little bit of sense here. He starts talking about, what do I do now? And there's no guarantees. But he starts to really say he's going to wait for Conor, kind of. He alludes to it.
So what do I do now?
Move on, Chandler. Move on, you fucking idiot. That's what you do. I mean, I don't understand how nobody in his family, not his manager, not his friends, not any other fighters, not the UFC, not Dana White, how aren't they saying, move the fuck on, buddy? Come off it. We get it. You want to get in the UFC. You want to get put in the North-South by Conor McGregor. Move on. Move on. At this point, I think he is sexually attracted to Conor McGregor. The way he's acting, he so desperately wants to be in there in the cage with him. He's wasting his career. He could have fought 4 times. He could have got a title shot. But instead, he keeps waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. At this point, he might as well fight Conor McGregor Jr. He might as well start a training camp for Conor McGregor Jr. That's how long he's going to be waiting. So it just makes no sense.
A little bit of uncertainty in my life. When's this fight going to happen?
Never. Never.
What date would it be rebooked for? What venue? How bad is the injury? Reports have come out that it's not that bad, just needs a little bit of a delay, but it's still no
Reports, because nobody tells him shit from the UFC.
guarantees. But I thrive in the no guarantees. Just a walk-on kid from High Ridge, Missouri, who has continued to trot in a forward trajectory.
I can't even listen to this anymore. He's just a walk-on kid. He's going to continue to stride in a forward trajectory. How delusional is this guy? He's alluding to the fact that he's going to wait for Conor McGregor. And wait till you see what Dana White had to say in his first interview, which we're going to get to in a second. Now, this next clip, if you're wondering why I'm just letting loose on Chandler, he told me to. He gave me full permission to. Listen to this right here. Listen to this right here.
Don't you dare disrespect me by feeling sorry for me. Don't you dare disrespect me by having any kind of sympathy.
So I don't have any sympathy for Michael Chandler. He's basically saying, look, I am a dumb fuck. I have fallen victim to the sunk cost fallacy, and I will continue to sniff Conor McGregor's asshole until somehow I get this fight or he's retired. At this point, if Conor McGregor leaves the UFC, I think Chandler's going to try to get out of his contract so he can wait to fight him in another organization. That's literally what I think Chandler's going to try to do. You know McGregor's laughing at him. You know Dana White's laughing at him behind the scenes. Well, actually out in public, which we're going to look at in a second. But this guy is delusional. Don't feel sorry for me. Yeah, we shouldn't. It's the old fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I mean, seriously, how many times can you fall for the same song and dance? And also, one of the main reasons I'm not feeling sorry for Michael Chandler anymore is how many times has he sold the fans wolf tickets? Telling you guys, yeah, we're definitely fighting. I'm 100% confident we're definitely fighting. TMZ interview after interview after interview. I'm fighting this fall. I'm fighting this December. I've checked with Siri and Conor McGregor has ample time to get back in the testing pool. This guy is a fucking clown. He has lost his mind. He is mentally broken. He needs to be committed, to be quite honest. Because I truly believe Conor has messed him up in the head. But let's listen to some more.
Be emboldened by my situation. Be emboldened by my steadfastness and my immovability of hitching my dreams to a shooting star.
Hitching his dreams to a shooting star. Does he know what a shooting star does? It crashes and burns. So you hitched your hopes and dreams to a shooting star that's going to crash and burn. What a horrible analogy. Well, actually a perfect analogy, but he thought it was a good analogy. I mean, this guy's delusional.
And continuing to move forward.
Yeah, continue to move forward. Last clip we're going to take a look at. I can't stomach this anymore. This guy's a fucking embarrassment. What an idiot. And I'm pissed off because he's wasted his career. And I know people are going to be like, Joey, why do you care? This is Michael Chandler's career. I like watching Michael Chandler fight and seeing him grovel to another grown man for 2 years. He's ruined his entire career. He's ruined his entire reputation. All he will be known for is dick-sucking Conor McGregor for the last 2 years. That is his legacy. I don't care what he does from here on out. I don't care if he defeats Conor in December, gets a title shot, wins the title, moves up to welterweight, gets another title. I mean, okay, maybe that. But his legacy will be, I am the guy that just brown-nosed Conor McGregor over and over and over again until I finally maybe get the fight. Now, this last clip is just more delusion from Michael Chandler. And what makes this so funny is the Dana White interview. I cannot wait to get to the Dana White interview.
I am emboldened by this test, and this test ain't done yet. And this test shall turn into part of my testimony.
I'm telling you right now, this guy's listening to too many motivational speakers. I'm telling you he is. This test ain't over yet, and this test will be part of my testimony. of what? How you ruined your fucking career, you clown? I mean, seriously, how has nobody saw this? Like, everyone was against me up until maybe the last month or so. Everyone was against me until this. I mean, really up until the last week. How did nobody see this coming? I don't understand it. How did his management not see this coming? How did he not see this coming? I mean, some of the fans did. Some of the fans did. If you watch my channel and you've, thought I had any credibility, you knew this was coming. But this test ain't over yet. He's going to wait a third year. He's going to wait a third year to fight Conor McGregor is what he's saying here. What a delusion. I mean, this guy is detached from reality. This guy is a clown.
So we keep moving forward in the face of adversity with complete disregard to previous failures, previous setbacks, previous things outside of our control, and future opposition.
So basically, I'm going to keep waiting for Conor. I don't care what's happened in the past. The sunk cost fallacy has me in a death grip. Now, another thing I want to take a real quick look at. We're not going to watch the whole thing because I don't even know how long it is. I couldn't stomach it. This is another video he posted on his Instagram. This is the same video I just showed you. By the way, I will link every video I show in this video down in the description. This is another video he posted earlier today. Listen to how depressed he sounds in this video. He talks about being at UFC 303 anyway. We're only going to listen to a little bit of this.
Your word is your bond. And if your word is no good, then eventually you are no good. Still going to UFC 303, much to the surprise of the UFC and everyone behind the scenes. It's UFC X, it's the UFC fan experience. It's UFC 303, Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka, and just 6 days ago, it was McGregor versus Chandler. It's my card.
Is he about to cry? Is he literally about to cry? I mean, does he not seem depressed here? Conor has done a number on Michael Chandler, has broken him. At this point, I think his wife may even divorce him and take the kids. That's how bad I think Conor McGregor messed up Michael Chandler's head.
It was my card whenever I signed the bout agreement, signed my name to a piece of paper that said I would be at UFC 303.
All right, so basically he's going to show up at 303. I can't stomach watching this anymore. I don't give a rat's ass about Chandler's depression. He's going to be at 303 anyway. He's going to be a man of his word, even though he's been promising you guys a fight for the last 2 years. Now, the interview with Dana White. He went on Jim Rome. This is the first interview he's done since the Conor McGregor-Michael Chandler cancellation. And he said some very, very telling things. First off, he says he's not very optimistic on a Conor McGregor return. I will link the this is an edit that I made with all the important parts of the interview because the interview was on Twitter. I will link the full interview down in the description, but I will also link this kind of edit that I put together unlisted. I will link it down in the description. If anybody else wants to use it, any other content creators want to use it, feel free to use it, okay? This is all the clips about Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler from Dana White. Let's listen.
Yeah, it happens. The thing with me is once I start to get these guys that are older, you get the guys that have cemented their legacies and made their money and done their things, the John Joneses, the Conor McGregors, these guys. I'm never very optimistic as it is, so it's listen, I'm in the fight business. I got to put on fights every Saturday. When those type of guys show up, it's fun. But I run the business, man.
So he's not very optimistic of guys like Conor McGregor showing up for work, which obviously he didn't show up for UFC 303, which I believe the UFC, Dana White, Hunter Campbell tried to push Conor McGregor to compete injured, which I think was a smart decision for Conor to pull out. But nonetheless, yeah, I'm not really sure Conor's going to fight. And he even says it outright here shortly. You're going to see he says it outright. But in this next clip, he's asked specifically about Conor's injury. There's been speculation that it's not an injury. We're going to listen to what Dana has to say, and then I'm going to react to it.
He really doesn't want to do any of the press. He's really hurt, right?
Conor McGregor, I've said it many times before, and I'll say it again. Conor McGregor has never done that.
By the way, this is just simply not true. Conor has publicly negotiated with the UFC in the lead up to fights in the past. I can't even name every instance, but all the fake retirements, the UFC 200 fiasco. So Dana's outright lying here, but to what extent? Okay, you can say, oh, maybe not all the time.
McGregor never leads up to a fight and tries to renegotiate a contract or get more money. He's never done anything even remotely close to that. He is as solid can be when it comes to being a business partner.
I mean, this is just craziness to say he's a solid business partner after what he's pulled over the past year. He's a solid business partner, teasing matchups, announcing the fight without Dana White and the UFC say so, then not showing up for the fight and teasing all these different dates and teasing the comeback. And what about the Ultimate Fighter? You know, I remember somebody, I think it was Chandler, said the Ultimate Fighter will lose all credibility if we don't fight. Who gives a rat's ass about the Ultimate Fighter? But either way, Dana's just talking about, oh yeah, he's not negotiating. He is for real injured, which he says here in a second.
Conor McGregor is hurt right now. It's absolutely real. Yeah, no, he's never done anything like that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now in this next clip, he's asked, well, what about Chandler? What's going on with Michael Chandler? Dana White literally laughs at Michael Chandler waiting for the Conor McGregor fight because he knows it may never come. He knows that this fight may never actually come to fruition, and Chandler has wasted his career. And listen very closely what Dana says. He says, if he wants a fight this summer, we'll give him a fight this summer. AKA, he's not fighting this summer if he's waiting for Conor McGregor. So listen to that.
Hey, Dan, really quickly, where does that leave Chandler?
Chandler, I think poor Chandler.
Listen to him. He's laughing at Chandler. He's literally laughing at Chandler. I mean, this is crazy. Let's rewind this real quick.
Anything like that.
Hey, Dan, really quickly, where does that leave Chandler?
Chandler, I think poor Chandler wants to wait for Conor McGregor, man. And, but whatever he wants to do, if he wants to get a fight this summer, we'll do whatever he wants.
If he wants to fight this summer, we'll do whatever he wants. AK, he's not fighting Conor McGregor this summer. So for people who don't know, summer goes into what? Late September? So you're not fighting in Abu Dhabi in October. So that means it would be November, December for a Conor McGregor Michael Chandler fight. They've already kind of earmarked John Jones, Stipe Miocic for November. So that means Chandler's going to have to wait till December, which would officially be past the 2-year mark of Chandler's inactivity. If he wants a fight this summer, we can get him a fight this summer, but it's not going to be Conor McGregor.
He's one of the greatest athletes I've ever worked with. He's a good human being.
AK, he's a brown noser. AK, he's a brown noser. Now, Jim Rome also asked him, do you think there's a chance Conor McGregor never fights again? Something along those lines. Listen to this.
Is there a chance that we've seen the last of Conor in the cage?
It's a great question. When guys get up to that, Conor's going to be 36 in July. And, he's got plenty of money. And I don't ever look at it. I don't ever think that guys like that, John Jones, who knows? Maybe he'll fight again. Maybe he won't. Conor McGregor, maybe he'll fight again. Maybe he won't. You never know with some of the guys that get to that level.
Did you hear what he just said? Chandler's been waiting for 1.5 years, almost 2 years, right? Imagine you're waiting for 1.5 years, almost 2 years. You're ready to wait for over 2 years. And this is what you hear from Dana White.
I think that guys like that, John Jones, who knows? Maybe he'll fight again. Maybe he won't. Conor McGregor, maybe he'll fight again. Maybe he won't.
Yeah, Chandler. Definitely. I would definitely advise sitting out till December or maybe January 2025, because this is what the UFC president Dana White has to say.
Conor McGregor, maybe he'll fight again. Maybe he won't.
Yeah, that's really reassuring for you, Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler has systematically ruined his career at every turn. He's in his late 30s. He's almost 40 years old. He sat out for damn near 2 years. He's looking to sit out for over 2 years to wait for one man to return. And ultimately, Conor McGregor may never return. I'm going to make another video on that because there's a lot that goes into kind of my theory behind Conor McGregor never returning. But real quick, I'll break it down for you, okay? There was a clause in the UFC's contracts that was added in 2017. That's called the sunset clause. And what that essentially means is from the date that you sign your contract, you cannot be held in your contract for more than 5 years. We do not know officially the last time Conor McGregor signed an updated contract. Since that provision, the sunset clause, has changed a little bit. But my speculation is that Conor McGregor most likely signed his last updated contract. Now, we knew he signed a new deal for the Khabib fight. We know he has 2 fights left, but he could have renegotiated and signed a new contract without adding more fights since then. My guess is with his return in 2020 against Cowboy Cerrone, he probably signed an updated contract. So guess what that means? That sunset clause would be going from the date that he signed that contract to 5 years. So let's say he signed it in January of 2020, right before the fight. When's that sunset clause come into effect? January of 2025. Guess where we're right around the corner from? Conor McGregor has alluded to the fact he wants to fight in Saudi Arabia. He wants to take the Francis Ngannou avenue because I've said this before, Conor McGregor is one of the most underpaid fighters on the UFC roster. For what he generates, the percentage of revenue that he gets is ridiculous. It is ridiculously low. And if he gets out of his contract one way or another, which he's been adamant, and I've been covering that, check out my playlist, which I will link down in the description. He's been talking about, I got 2 fights left on my deal. I don't know how they're going to re-sign me, this and that. He wants to go fight favorable matchups in Saudi Arabia for bigger paychecks. And that's why I believe Conor McGregor may just wait it out. Now, they've changed the sunset clause where it's a little bit more restrictive, but they changed that in 2023. I doubt Conor has signed a new contract since 2021 at the latest. So Conor McGregor may literally just be waiting for his contract to expire and then leaving the UFC. So Michael Chandler is waiting for a guy in desperation, humiliating himself nonstop at the ripe age of 40, all for a red panty night that does not even exist. The UFC president is laughing at him. Yeah, I think poor Michael Chandler wants to wait. So Michael Chandler has backed himself into a corner and completely embarrassed himself, completely embarrassed his management, completely embarrassed his family. And I think he needs to take a fight. I think he needs to move on right now. I think he needs to ask for a fight on one of these next few pay-per-views. The UFC should give him that fight as a courtesy of what he's been doing over the past couple years. And he needs to just move on. And he said, look, if I fight in August, I fight in July, I fight in June, I'll still fight Conor in December. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. If you lose, you're more likely to fight Conor. But at the end of the day, Conor may never return. You might as well collect a paycheck while you still can, while you're still arguably, I mean, you can't even say he's in his prime, while you're still able to compete at a high level, which we're not even sure because he's been sitting out for so long. He's going to end up fighting Conor McGregor Jr. So let me know what you guys think of all that down in the comments. Like the video, share the video if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.